Hi, I'm Christopher Thompson, and welcome to the very first episode of Movie Time, which is a new thing I do besides Chris Speaks. I do it because I did a couple of reviews. I did a review of Alien and a review of, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. As you can see, I have this stupid headset on my face because for some reason the microphone on the camera doesn't work, but I don't think it's really the camera because I switched it with an old crappy camera and the microphone still wouldn't work, so I think there's something wrong with my computer. So I don't know, so I'm going to be wearing this stupid thing on my head because I've done this like 10 times and couldn't get any sound, so I'm having to do it this way. There's, like I said, it couldn't be both things, I don't know. Anyways, so here I am. What Movie Time is I review things. So probably right now I'm doing a retro review. The retro review is Starman. Okay, we're doing this to have a good time, have fun, be happy, because some of my stuff is really depressing on Chris Speaks, and sometimes people just want to be entertained. So, okay, what we have is Starman. Starman is going way back to 1984, and it is directed by John Carpenter. It's starring Jeff Bridges as the Starman, or Scott Hayden, and Karen Allen is starring as Jenny Hayden, who is the widow of Scott Hayden that the being clones itself from. Okay, so in the beginning of the movie, we start off and we got, boom, Voyager gets put into space with all this stuff to teach the aliens that they meet us about our culture, our music, our languages, culture in general. Probably has some video footage of some sort, and an invitation to come here. And it eventually, in this movie, extraterrestrials do get it, and they get the invitation and they come to Earth. So one of the aliens is sent to Earth, and what do we do after we invite them? Yes, that is, we shoot them down, because that's what we do. We invite them here and then we want to shoot them down and dissect them. Okay, so he gets shot down, and I'm not sure, it's somewhere in the central, more towards the east United States, more eastern United States, and he crashes near the house of Jenny Hayden, and you don't really see you don't see what it looks like in the alien form, but it meant you just see like glowing lights or something. So it goes in there and it takes a tuft of hair from her dead husband that she kept when he died to remember him by, and uses the DNA to clone himself to be identical clone to her husband. And so, okay, so she's freaked out already. She knows it's not her husband. She's seen it mutate from a little weird-looking baby thing into a full-grown man in like 5 minutes. But he wants to go, and she's freaked out, and she goes in the car, and after a while, driving for a while, and he's talking to her, she tells a guy, they stop, and she tells a guy, oh, he's kidnapping me, and then there's a scuffle, and then they run off anyways, and then, so they're going for a while, and they end up going to this, place where, before they go to that, he decides at a certain point to start driving the car, and he says, I can drive because I watched you and I learned how to do it. So they go, and he causes this big old collision when he runs through like a red light or something, and she's like, well, I thought you said you watched me. He's like, I did. Green light means go, red light means stop, yellow light means drive fast as hell. so he learned from her bad driving experience. So that happens, and then they leave, and they end up going to this diner. There's somewhere where there's a forest, so someone was hunting, and he sees a deer, and the guy who shot it says, what you looking at for? Did you see Bambi? He said, what's Bambi? Oh wait, no, that's later on. Actually, he says, you never seen a dead deer before? And he goes and he leaves. And the Bambi things later. So they go in there and they eat, and then she's gonna ditch him, so she gives the money and the keys to the car and stuff to this waitress to give to him because she's gonna leave and let him go on his own way. But then later on she's about to go back. She's like, I wouldn't go out back. That friend of yours is out front. So he's out front, and he goes and he has these like 3 orbs or 4 orbs that he has. He takes one of these orbs and he brings the deer back to life, and the deer runs off. And the guy who shot it sees him at the store and is like, sees him near his car, and he says, well, where's Bambi? He's like, I don't understand Bambi. It's like, oh yeah, wise guy. And he punches, he's like, oh, he went that way. He punched him in the face, and then he punches the guy back, and then the guy's friends come back and grab him and hold him and let the guy beat him up. So Ginny comes and shoots a gun in the air, and then, okay, so now they're freaked out, so they get in the car and they run off, and the guy is trying to chase them. Oh, I think this is the one that ends up, okay, so they go and they're chasing him, and they end up crashing, right? Fiery crash. Wait, no, I don't know, it's hard to see. I bet you at some point there's a big, huge crash, and he uses another orb power to bring her out of the fiery crash, and they're walking. So they go through this thing, they go through the United States. There's a part where they go to, they're trying to they get on the train. This is after the crash, they get on the train. So on this train, it's a freight train, and they're trying to get to Arizona. I forgot to tell you, he needs to go to the crater in Arizona to meet his people, and he can't be there that long or he's going to die, so he needs to go back. And so that's where they're heading to. But they go too far and they end up in Vegas. Okay, so now they're in Vegas. Then, well, we'll just rent a car. And then she realizes she lost her wallet somewhere. So now all she has is a quarter. So they go in the casino, and he's like, we have no problem. He puts it in there, and he gets bar, and then something's like a apple or something, a cherry or something, and he pushes it, and he makes it 3 bars, so they get a bunch of money. Then he goes and takes one of the quarters and goes to another mission and gets the $500,000 jackpot. Okay, so they get that, so now they have money to rent a car. So they rent a car, and they go to this hotel, and then when she's sleeping, and oh wait, before this, I think this is a part in the hotel. I think they spend the night together, and stuff leads to slip. They sleep together, and he later on says, tonight I give you a baby, and she's like, no, you don't understand. It's impossible. I can't. I'm infertile. The doctor said I'll never have a baby. He's like, trust me, believe me. You will be having my baby. He's like, he'll be your husband's child because he's the clone of her husband, genetically exactly like him. So genetically it'll be his son, but it'll also be his son with the knowledge and the abilities and everything, and he'll help lead like Earth to prosperity or whatever, stuff like that. Okay, so and anyways, then they end up, they're probably, I don't know what they're doing. He's talking to someone who's in there. I don't know. I'm really bad at reviewing the things. I should have written stuff down. That's why if you see me look up there, I have stuff written on a whiteboard, but I didn't write a lot. Okay. So, I'm really bad at describing movies, but I'm trying to do the story. It doesn't really matter how perfect it is. Maybe if I don't help you figure it out at all, you can see it without being spoiled, because Chris sucks at doing movie reviews. Well, not the reviewing part, but trying to do the storyline. I don't know. Okay, so all this happens, and then they escape, they get away, and there's a part where it was the guy, one of the guys, the guy who's a scientist who's helping the government but doesn't really want to, but he's kind of in a thing. He helps them get away, and so they get away, and they finally make it to that crater, and he goes and he rendezvous with these people, and then they leave, and it's bittersweet because he needs to go, and she's grown to love him, and she's gonna miss him and everything. But overall, it's like a really good movie, and I wish I could do this review without this stupid thing on my head, but, my computer just doesn't want to work. I think it's my computer, because I wouldn't think two different webcams would have the mic out. I don't know. Makes me wonder if I should even get another webcam, because okay, I'm getting off the subject. Anyways, the movie Starman, it's very good. You should rent it or whatever. You probably won't find it in Redbox. You might, if you have Netflix. It won't be on the stream, but maybe sometime it will be. It isn't right now, but you can get it through the mail from them, or some of these things like the Blockbuster thing on the streaming devices, like for where you stream, where it's like pay-per-view, where you rent them or whatever. They'll probably have it. You have cable that might come up sometime. I don't know. It's a really old movie. Sometimes they have old movies, sometimes they don't. But anyways, it's really good. It's one of John Carpenter's best movies. You'll have a great time. It's a good science fiction flick. I loved it as a child. I've always been a big fan of science fiction. But it's really good. It's a good drama. It's a good family film. But anyways, this has been fun. This has been the first episode of Movie Time, and I will see you again. I'll probably see you first on another episode of Chris Speaks. Alright, I'll see you guys.